Hello guys, meet again with a channel that will always provide information about sports, especially boxing and MMA, Queen MMA. Over the years, if we follow the UFC, we have seen several fighters who have had impressive winning streaks. Where there are some fighters who have to go down in defeat or surrender to the opponent, some of these fighters manage to come down from the octagon with victory and without injury. Here are 5 fighters who have the longest winning streak in UFC history. But before we continue, don't forget to remind us to press the subscribe button and activate the bell for those who haven't, so that we can notify you if there is another latest and cool update from Queen MMA. 5. Jon Jones. Jon Jones is a former light heavyweight champion in the UFC, his attacks being technically impenetrable, making him appear tenacious in the octagon. Jon Jones has an impressive 13 consecutive wins, but unfortunately, his 14th win against Daniel Cormier had to be cancelled as a no contest by CSAC. That's because Jon Jones tested positive for using banned substances for athletes. If only that victory had not been tarnished, of course, Jones would have won 18 in a row, which made him the owner of the most consecutive wins in UFC history. But sadly, Jones' incredible record was broken in 2017 after 7 years unbeaten. Even after that, Jones won 4 more times until he vacated the light heavy division belt and prepared to move up to the heavyweight division. His eyes are now on Francis Ngannou, the holder of the heavyweight division throne. Demetrious Johnson. Demetrious Johnson is the first UFC flyweight crown holder. In the flyweight division, he has the record for the most takedowns and simultaneously holds the record for the most finishes in his class. After his first loss to Dominic Cruz, he then drew against Ian McCall. Mighty Mouse, as Demetrious Johnson is called, has only suffered 2 defeats in the UFC. And after all that, Demetrious Johnson is an unstoppable force. When Demetrious Johnson faced Ian McCall for the second time, he made the win seem so easy. Then he became the UFC flyweight champion for the first time, after he defeated Joseph Benavidez. Next up, he surpassed Anderson Silva's record of 10 wins at the time, as he defended the title for the 11th time. Demetrious Johnson has made it a record 13 consecutive wins in his UFC career. Henry Cejudo is the man who has ended his winning streak in a rematch of their fight at UFC 227 in 2016. Georges st-Pierre. Georges st-Pierre is one of the greatest and most famous MMA fighters in history, and he is a former champion in 2 divisions in the UFC. In his 28 total matches in the UFC, Georges st-Pierre has only lost 2, and that was the last loss when his fight against Matt Serra was in 2007. His subsequent fights were 13 straight wins, including a victory over Michael Bisping in the middleweight division in his last fight. In its 13 consecutive wins, GSP has beaten big names such as Matt Hughes, Matt Serra, BJ Penn, Thiago Alves, Carlos Condit, and Nick Diaz. GSP went on to retire on an unbroken streak, although there was news that he would return, but that seemed unlikely. GSP announced, that he would be inducted into the modern wing of the UFC Hall of Fame. Two, Khabib Nurmagomedov. If you look for the person who has defeated Khabib Nurmagomedov, you will not find that person. That's because Khabib is the fighter with the longest unbeaten record, not just in the UFC, but in his entire sporting career. In MMA, there is no one like Khabib Nurmagomedov who has a 29-0 record in his entire MMA career. In the UFC itself, Khabib has a record 13 straight wins, where he has passed reliable fighters such as Edson Barboza, Al Iaquinta, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, and Justin Gaethje in his last fight. Khabib has announced that he is retiring, despite rumors that he will return, but Khabib has made it clear that he will not fight again. However, Khabib said he would consider it if he had his mother's blessing. One, Anderson Silva. The record holder for the longest winning streak in the UFC is Anderson Silva, who has 16 straight wins. Anderson is unbeaten starting from his debut in the UFC in 2006 against Chris Leben, until his first defeat against Chris Weidman. In all of his consecutive wins, he has beaten fighters like Rich Franklin up to 2 times, Dan Henderson, Forrest Griffin, Vitor Belfort, and Demian Maia. Unfortunately, since his record was broken, Anderson Silva has been on a losing streak, and he has only won 1 match. Even so, until now no one has beaten his record of 16 consecutive wins at the UFC. What Anderson Silva has done at home to the UFC has gone beyond what the record says. Without a doubt, he is one of the greatest middleweights to ever enter the UFC octagon. He has proven to have a strong influence on subsequent fighters time and time again. Uriah Hall, his last opponent before he retired from the UFC, burst into tears after beating him and thanked him for being his inspiration. No fighter who is 46 years old dares to fight in the octagon, except Anderson Silva. So, those are some of the fighters who have the most consecutive wins in UFC history. In your opinion, are there any other fighters who surpass them? Share your opinion in the comments column below. Don't forget to like the video, so that we are even more enthusiastic about presenting other, cooler information. Thank you for watching. See you in other videos. See ya.